Okay, so I'm currently getting trashed on one of the David subreddits. It's not surprising, it happens quite often. Me, along with Celeste's parents, we're constantly getting absolutely brutalized by these subreddits, and I do think that there is a campaign against me, as well as the parents, as part of the defense in kind of a PR move to basically tear down anybody that is spreading these narratives about David being a bad guy, you know what I'm saying? Allegedly being the guy that's potentially responsible for this horrible crime. But as you guys know, anybody that follows me closely, I do not duck any fades, any smoke. I will address anything about me controversially head on. And maybe I might have made a small mistake, but the funny thing is this doesn't make any difference. And I have my notebook. I'm going to be going back over my notes, and people are saying that I put misinformation out there. So I'm going to set the record straight, but in the process, I'm also going to expose some very dark things going on these subreddits. So this post is going around. Wait a minute. This post, they're saying Trap is the new SF queen of fake news. They're comparing me to Steve Fisher, man. I mean, Steve's got a few things wrong in the process of this, but I do think his heart's in the right place after having spoken to him. But this is what is going down. So look at this, right? People are spreading this. They're saying Trap's still defending the parents' knowledge of the illegal relationship, saying he was the one in court. Only Jesus' name was on the notarized document, but the transcript clearly says both parents' names were on it. Now, I was certain that they only brought up Celeste's father, Jesus, when it came to that notarized document. I was certain, all right? But now people are coming back to me saying, oh, you got that wrong. It was both of them. And this screenshot of the transcript is going around, and they're saying that basically Blair Burke said it's a 4-page child notarized travel consent document form. Sorry, I'll read it precisely. So they showed the exhibit. They said it's a 4-page child notarized child travel consent form sworn to by Jesus Rivas and Mercedes Martinez, dated September 23, 2024. Now, I haven't seen the transcripts. All I had was my handwritten notes. And clearly, things were moving very fast. I was trying to write everything down. I will throw my hands up and say, even after seeing this, I was so certain, I went back and checked my notes. My notes were a little bit different, but I was writing as fast as I could. Some words slipped me by. There were probably a few things that I missed that are going to be in these transcripts. I'll throw my hand up and say it. My handwritten notes, I basically wrote, there was a 4-page notarized child travel consent form signed by Jesus, Celeste's parent, in September 2024, consenting to the London trip. Now, maybe in the heat of the moment, things went so fast that I didn't manage to write, maybe I meant to write both of her parents or both of them. Here's the thing. I'll throw my hands up and say, if the transcript says that both of the parents were on that form, that's what the transcript says. I made a mistake in my notes. Apologies. Here's the problem. This literally doesn't change anything, right? And what you're going to see is a whole bunch of comments trashing me, basically saying that because I made what is essentially a typo, that I'm somehow badly intentioned, that I'm spreading misinformation. Here's the thing, this doesn't change shit, because as I said to you in a previous video, we don't know who notarized this document, and the fact is the parents both don't speak English. I've seen both of them in court with an interpreter. They don't speak English. When Beth Silverman spoke to them, they didn't have a clue. They looked at her like, Beth Silverman said, oh, I don't know if you should be here for this. They looked at her like, what? And they had to have their interpreter, their translator, explain, no offense to them, but like a pretty basic sentence in English to them. So I'm still questionable about this form. I'm still questionable whether the parents knew what they were signing. I'm still questionable as to whether it was a forge, maybe forged by Celeste or David, or maybe the notary didn't actually do what they were supposed to do. None of that's been proven. This proves nothing. And I'll always throw my hands up and say I misremembered, or I misquoted what happened in that courtroom in a very, very small way, what is essentially a typo that changes nothing. Okay, so the fact that they're saying, oh, well, both of their names are on the form, what difference does that make to the argument that I was making? And here's the thing, there's misinformation in this, right? Trap still defending parents' knowledge of the illegal relationships. The parents had zero knowledge of the illegal relationship. Just because their names were on a form, we don't know the context they signed the form in. They could have thought they were signing a field trip, like permission slip. Celeste could have told them, oh, there's a school trip to London that I'm going on. Anything, could have been anything. She could have said, oh, I'm doing an internship with this thing. You don't know. There's no proof. Someone pull me up, any of the haters that are on me in this thread, please pull up the transcript where it says that the parents had knowledge of the illegal relationship, because that's a lie. So they're calling me the queen of fake news when this literally has misinformation in it, and I'm still defending the parents. And if anything changes, if I see proof that they were aware of the illegal relationship, which this says, which is a lie, I'll correct the record and I'll say I'm not in love with the parents, all right? I'm just thinking that there's a lot of misinformation going on, and this is David's defense. But anyway, okay, this is basically they're now deflecting all the attention away to me. So I'm going to read the comments on this. I'm going to take it head on, and I'm just going to basically reiterate that this doesn't change a thing. What does this change? The fact that I misquoted the court reporter because I was writing so fast and I forgot to write that the mum's name was on the form as well. Does literally make zero difference. You tell me, like, does this make any difference to what I was saying, the argument I was saying? Because this is misinformation, right? Defending the parents' knowledge of the illegal relationship, that's not been established whatsoever, right? They said that David was known to Celeste's family. They said that David's aunts and cousins knew about the relationship, not the illegal aspect of it. So that's misinformation, but let's go for it. They're saying Trapp kept dropping videos denying parents' knowledge of the illegal relationship and defending them. Still am doing that. Still denying. No, there's zero proof. Pull a transcript, because all you've done, and again, I wouldn't be surprised if this is kind of part of David's PR strategy to, again, muddy the waters. They're attacking me, and it's cool. You're all just bringing profile to my work and my, defense of Celeste and the family, which I still think is really important. It says he said he was the one in court and only the dad's name was on the permission slip. That's not what it was. Funny way to call a notarized document. The transcripts are out and it clearly says both parents' names are on the document. Be careful of what you watch and always question their motives. His being clickbait and money. This video is not clickbait or it's not money motivate. I'm thinking the amount of people that actually care about me addressing this is pretty minimal, okay? But I will do the right thing and defend my reporting, and I'll be honest to you guys at every step of the way. I'm being honest to you about this. I've read to you exactly what was in my notes. I've compared it to the transcript, and I'll throw my hands up and say clearly there was a difference between these two things I was trying to write so fast. I'm doing handwritten notes, all right? A lot of these, the courtroom reporter, I don't know how fast she's able to type, but stenographer, I think they're called, but like, I wish I could type that fast, and I wasn't even allowed to use my laptop. But anyway, let's see all of the slander in the comments, okay? So this is actually the clip of the person bringing this up.
So you have, it was 4 pages that it was stated, but they only showed us the cover and said that Jesus and Mercedes signed it. And that's in the transcripts, I believe, as well, because I know a lot of places were saying that just the father signed it, but I wrote in my notes that
it was both parents.
It was both of them. So both it was not just the father. It was both. They said Jesus and Mercedes Rivas Hernandez both signed this form.
And so they just got like a...
So what difference does that make? Tell me. What the material does not change anything. So this is a red herring, all right? If you know, a red herring is basically a distraction. It's something to distract you from what's really going on. This makes no difference, and everybody's still spreading this lie that they knew about the illegal relationship. Somebody in Dave Idiots, that you do such good research that you've managed to, essentially identify like a small discrepancy between my notes and the transcript, which I'm never ever claiming that my notes are anywhere near as accurate as the transcript. I'm not going to try and trash and question the validity of the transcript, all right? But show me where, since you guys are such good at highlighting transcripts, right? You guys are so good at highlighting transcripts. Please show me where in the transcript it says the parents had knowledge of the illegal relationship. Please show me that. You can't, because it's not true, but you're going to make it all about me instead. All right. So it says person on Rabbit's Live who went to the actual preliminary hearing in court says both parents, and it's in the official court transcript. I also think it is plausible it could be a forgery using Colleen Burke as the notary. So the fact, it's not like, well, Celeste's mom is actually an expert legal operator and speaks perfect English. Doesn't make a lick of difference. It says this would actually make more sense as to why she stopped paying rent in May 2025, but the defense never questioned this, leading me to believe it's a dead-end argument that both signed it. Facts. End of the day, we all want justice for Celeste, and I'm sure the trial will answer a lot of burning questions, but ultimately will send David down for good. Cooked. If that was bullshit, the lawyer would have said it, but it went when he went outside to answer questions. You notice he didn't deny it. Instead, he just tried to make people feel sympathy. Okay? We get David as a horrible PDF, as he says, but it doesn't mean he has a right to put out false information. I would say this wasn't me having a right to put out false information. This is just me having a discrepancy in my notes. I wasn't writing fast enough, and I missed something. That's what it is. It says we're watching him and relying on him for information as a chosen viewer of limited seats inside the courtroom. He has a huge platform and a responsibility to put out factual information. Hopefully he does his due diligence and corrects himself. Otherwise, he loses a lot of credibility. The credibility that shouldn't ever have been given to begin with. This is bad. This is evil. Bottom of the barrel. Is this not bad? Is all of the shit David done not bad? This is bad. This is evil. He is cooked. All of them thumbnails ain't clickbait. He is fucking evil and bad and cooked. All right. What do you want me to put on there? This might be naughty. this might be a bit silly. This is fucking bad. I can't put fucking on there, but this is fucking evil. This is pure evil. He is cooked. Bottom of the barrel. He is he is cooked. All right. I'm bottom of the barrel. So what's David? I'm bottom of the barrel. So if the barrel, where's David in the barrel? David is in the depths of hell underground, coming out the other side of the earth to Australia. If I'm bottom of the barrel by simply like doing all of these notes that I did, and I missed a couple things with my handwritten notes. Okay, folks. If they forge something that is notarized, that would be a whole separate charge that's not come up anywhere. In my state, it's 1 to 5 years in prison for a false notary. I don't know exactly in this case, leading me to believe the parents did sign it. Well, you all want the parents to be charged, don't you? So it's never going to happen. Stop watching him then. Can't we just ignore posts about this clout chaser altogether, or stop giving this clown traction? You guys are giving me all the traction. This is the ironic thing, right? I don't know whether it's kind of a David PR push or whether it's just these people in this subreddit that low-key like David and they just love tearing me down. But it's like, you guys are making posts about me having a slight discrepancy. What does this change? What actually does this change? Nothing. It says, why are you asking? Just do it yourself. Is it that hard to stop watching content you don't agree with or enjoy? I like Ross. He's doing a lot of work to get the information out as soon as possible. He's not perfect, but he owns up when he gets something wrong. He just wants justice for Celeste, and I appreciate that. So then call Mark the Shark a clout chaser then. They both started at the same time on the situation. It's great. They both actually kept attention on the case. Both were at the hearing. Both gave accurate information. If you had a brain, you'd be dangerous. You must be new here. Now, you must be new to the trap hate train. The hate train of trap is just a bunch of karma grifting chuds mad at a man for talking about issues that need to be talked about. Half of them don't even live the lives of the people that they look up to that trap reports on. They love the idea of no snitching until it's time to call the cops. I think those were gunshots. Nah, bro, they were fireworks. Same type of people. Want to be from the hood-ass people mixed with people from the hood who dodge accountability and give excuses for their favorite trap star. Specifically for this case, it's either David fanboys and the people who don't like trap trying to find a way to express unjust hate they already have by finding an appealing way to express it based on what they see they can get away with without being called out alone. Early on, it was David supporters before he was arrested trying to say he was innocent and that him being guilty is basically not possible because he wasn't locked up, mixed in with David's bot PR and defense team trying to save his image, followed by trap haters finding a convenient place to express hate. If you're arriving on the David stop, I'm grouping you in with the Protector fanboys. Stick to crocheting. Maybe you can land a job under trap making his merch or something. That'd be lit, man. You can make a This Is Bad little crocheted beanie for me. Edit, this will be downvoted, but nobody will give a rebuttal. Poser ass clowns. Let me hit that downvote button because I don't want to call out that I don't like how I got called out and cooked. And to think a lot of you actually get to vote in elections. What a shame. Haha, I got you either blocked or the comment was deleted and the user accounts are going to hide like David now. Agree, I don't see how people can listen to trap anyways. His voice annoys me. I'm very sorry, all right? I can't help it. I think they like to hate watch him. I don't understand that though. Maybe they like to run back to Reddit into an echo chamber for others to validate their opinion of him, but I don't understand that either. I really hate when people say this. We're not talking about some anime OP didn't like, but about someone spreading misinformation who's being praised like some kind of saint. This is how things get swept under the rug. You're talking about me sweeping things under the rug, and this man literally had like blue star illumination lighting up like a Christmas tree underneath the gym mats in his garage, and you want to talk to me about sweeping things under the rug? What have I swept under the rug? So what am I sweeping under the rug? He made a mistake and I'm sure he'll correct himself. He didn't edit the videos straight from court, and he feels sympathy for her parents after actually seeing them in person. Many people have stated wrong information because the case is all over the place. Even here on this thread, there's a bunch of misinformation. He's working hard to get all the info out he can, and at the end of the day, he just wants what we all want. I don't understand the villainizing of everyone, but David and his family, who actually knew and had malicious intent through and through, until evidence comes out proving that they were involved in a malicious way, then it's all speculation. Without Ross, we wouldn't have a lot of the courtroom info. We do cut the guy some slack. Okay, so keep watching him and let him spread misinformation. Like, I'm not understanding the logic here. What's continuing to engage with content you disagree with doing to prevent that? If anything, it's perpetuating whatever you're against. The algorithm doesn't care whether viewers agree or disagree with him. He'll get more views and his content will keep being pushed. It's a simple concept. Here's the thing. This subreddit is an absolute hive of misinformation. And so I'm basically just trying to keep up with this. Things get said and then things get corrected. That's just how it goes. That's how investigation goes. This is how scientific theory goes. You can't say, oh, you're spreading misinformation about the laws of gravity. And then they're kind of like, you know what I'm saying? Look, I'm not smart enough to, like, what was it? Isaac Newton, like discovering gravity from an apple falling from a tree. It's like, laws change, like scientific theories change. That's what scientific research and testing is all about. You come up with a theory, you test it, and you might hold a scientific theory for 100 years until new information comes out and you correct the record. This is what understanding research is all about. People want to talk to me about, oh, he's spreading misinformation. Come on, man, give me a break. Don't make me start talking about COVID and how all the information changed about that. What's so hard for you to understand here? You can't correct misinformation without engaging with it a little. Ignoring it is so much worse. Like I said, silence is how things get swept under the rug. People did the same with Steve Fisher and called him out when he was spreading BS. It was the same with TMZ, same with Trap, simple concept. Yes, watching every one of his videos correcting in a subreddit that almost unanimously disagrees with him is really helping. Hate comment from 53 minutes ago has 2 badges, but comments with 20 plus upvotes. Don't smear campaign. Hi, David's team. Don't be dumb. People have disliked Trap Law Ross for years. I'm not a part of David's team, and I've disliked Trap for years. This dude is a clown. And now he's trying to say anyone who hates him is part of David's team because he's an egomaniac who wants to make money off his 2-bit journalism and black gang vids. That's such a reduction of what I do, it's offensive. Snitches get stitches ass comment. Bro over here, dumb commenting because what the F does this mean? Comment's been removed. Hello, at this stage in the game, I wish I was part of anyone's team, lol. Our team mods this sub free of charge and in our spare time. Based on the time that we put into it lately, I wish someone's team was paying us. You can be Team David without being a paid member of David's team. People are treating this like it's team sports. Like when people was trying to say to me, oh, you need to stay on that side because now you're saying that Lil Durk has a chance of beating his case. It's like, I ain't on no team. I ain't on team prosecutor, team Lil Durk, team David, team Beth Silverman. I'm on team let's get to the facts. And if something turns out to be wrong, let's correct the record and just keep learning, keep improving. You don't have to be paid to be Team David. Anyway, he's been providing the best coverage of the case. I really appreciate his coverage, regardless of any feelings towards him based on past false accusations he made against mods in this sub. We're going to get into that later. I just don't understand why he repeatedly reported false information, even though he was in court viewing the information firsthand. All right? What false info? We're going to get into this all again now. In the video he made about David's mom, he kept saying that only the father had signed, not the mother. I'm a bit confused because they showed the document in court and other reporters said both parents' signatures were present, even if he couldn't see. I'm blind as a bat. The transcript says Jesus and Mercedes both signed the document. Everything was moving so fast, they flashed it up on the screen for like a second and moved on. Look, say what you want about me, but I personally think that they were intentionally moving too fast for people to really get a gist of what was going. They showed that document so fast, so small, and they moved on. I was trying to write everything down quickly. I'm sorry. I missed out some words. I apologize. Anyway, I plan on continuing to watch his coverage. It's hard when the media is shut out from proceedings, so we have to rely on the information from attendees until we can read the transcripts themselves. Hey, maybe if that fucking stupid girl hadn't been live messaging via a Google Doc on like day 2, getting herself kicked out and getting to the point where I wasn't allowed a laptop. Maybe if she hadn't done that dumb shit and I could have typed this out with a laptop, I wouldn't miss a word. All right, maybe you can blame the courts for not allowing the non-mainstream media to have laptops after day 2. All right, maybe I'm a way quicker typer than I am a handwriter. I barely handwritten notes since school. All right, my wrist is getting a whole anyway. Whatever. I hope it's something we will explain, or he will explain, or issue a correction on. That's what this is. He has mentioned before if certain facts end up being wrong, he has no problem retracting prior statements. Exactly. I think it's disappointing to see how certain outlets report on this. I think if anything, just reach out and clarify. Absolutely. I'm expecting he will probably clarify since he mentioned he would if he misreports. But to be honest, I'm not so sure he would be responsive to any comments or questions from our mod team. I mean, he made an entire expose series, still planning more episodes apparently, about how our sub is compromised and we're somehow in cahoots with David's team. Never reached out to us beforehand. Shoot, I wish I was in cahoots with somebody. I spend way too much time doing this for free. Anywho, I'm sure this will all blow over and be clarified. It was just an interesting conversation. Enjoy your night. Signed, a rep from the most compromised sub on the internet. I didn't say you're the most compromised sub on the internet. I could probably come up with some better examples. But at the end of the day, this sub was... I would do an interview with this sub. I actually would do it. I would love to interview some of the members of the mod team. But it's specific people that were allowing this whole nonsense to go around about David's brother and this Q&A with a friend of David's brother who seemed to know everything going on inside David's brother's mind conveniently, but also didn't know certain things that would be uncomfortable to respond to. Says, no, he hasn't. Court TV Law and Crime is way better and they don't defend the behavior of the parents who let their 13-year-old be with a grown man who was psychopathic, demented and narcissistic sick freak. Did that document that I was wrong, all right? So clearly the transcript said the document was signed by both parents. Can someone show me in the transcript where that document said that they consented for their 13-year-old to be with a grown man who was psychopathic, demented, sick, narcissistic freak? And if you want to talk about misinformation... she would have been 14 when that document was signed. It was after her birthday, so you don't know what the fuck you're talking about, do you? Don't know what you're talking about. Misinformation. Cool guy granny, are you going to correct the record on saying 13 when she was actually 14 when this document was signed? Are you going to correct the record, sir? Are you going to correct the record? No, you're not. No, you're not. Because it doesn't matter. Because it doesn't change it. It doesn't make a difference that she was 14 when the document was signed. It doesn't fucking matter. Just like Celeste's mum being on the form doesn't matter. I thought that that's what I had documented from my notes. I was wrong. Sorry. I am sorry. The truth is, David's mother was an authorized person who could notarize the documents. That is key information, in my opinion, but you have to take every influencer with a grain of salt. Everyone has different opinions, just like many YouTubers reporting the case. This is the thing, like, Celeste's mother being on that form doesn't prove or change anything. Fucking Krusty the Clown could have been on that notarized document. Doesn't make any difference. Doesn't make any... Also, he was aware of the illegal relationship. That doesn't mean that that's true. If that were true, it likely would have been presented in court, as that would have been vital details. These documents were presented by the defense. It would be extremely stupid to present evidence that was forged by their client's mother. It's also unlikely, since David's mum lived in Texas and the documents were created for her to travel to London and Texas. Her traveling to LA just to notarize documents seemed like a stretch. In preliminary hearings, they saved some very evidence for trials. If it's headed to one, which is after Neo tried to get out of testifying, I wouldn't be surprised if this becomes their next tactic. It should be, in my opinion, make them all take the damn stand. I hope so too. It also wouldn't take much to do it from home. Then facts over. Fraud is a lot easier than people will believe. This evidence was presented by David's team. It would be counterproductive for them to present evidence that would harm their case. I just learned notaries can be done remotely. I think that the nuance been missed. There's already evidence he had aliases he used to order things and book flights for Celeste. His mom was aware of the relationship and she has been sketchy as F, so it's not hard to assume forgery is a possibility. If they don't speak English, I've seen them not understand basic sentences. I'm sorry. I also find it hard to believe that if they signed, they would be fully aware of what they were signing. It's not uncommon for children of immigrants to act as translators for documents. She could have told them anything. There's a lot of possibilities. I had a visceral reaction to the idea of them knowing, but we have gotten... a fraction of the evidence, so there are a lot of gaps to fill. What difference does it make if it was one or both? Both parents had knowledge of it. That's the point. Thank you. Here we go. And it's a mod. All right, it's a big mod. When a content creator attends a court hearing, presumably to report on the facts, yet information they reported ends up being completely untrue. Not completely untrue, is it? It was partially incorrect, I would say. One begins to wonder what their motivation might be. Here's the thing. What difference does it make that I got this mistake wrong and I'm now correcting the record, right? It doesn't make any... It's like, oh, you would get infinitely more success and clout and views from the fact that it doesn't... Honestly, it doesn't change anything. My opinion is exactly the same, except that maybe I need to practice writing a bit faster. I myself watched his content in addition to others, anticipating to get the most reliable information from people inside the courtroom. I was disappointed to learn his reporting was not accurate, particularly on such important details. Doesn't make any difference. Doesn't make any difference. You got an agenda, sir. I see you have an agenda. It says exactly, both parents have knowledge of it, but Trap keeps defending them, saying they just know who David is, but they're never in a legal relationship. Because that's true, because there's no proof. The thing that's at the top, I'm not going to scroll up because I don't want to lose my place, but that thing at the top of this post that says the parents knew about the illegal relationship. No, they don't. I wasn't saying, oh, the dad knew about the illegal relationship because he was on the form. All I wrote as fast as I could, and I only wrote the dad's name, and I misremembered it as him, just him. Okay? Doesn't change anything. They didn't know about the illegal relationship. Please, someone pull the part of the transcript where it says the parents knew about the illegal relationship. It says your gotcha here doesn't prove that, though. Like, this means nothing either way. Facts. If you don't understand the reason for pointing out misinformation and questioning sources of information, then just let it be. It's an attack on me because you don't like the facts that I'm putting out there. You don't like the fact that I'm dragging David's mum for being a bad mum, because this doesn't make David's mum, Colleen, a good mum, does it? Like, oh, well, actually, Celeste's mum's name was on the same form, so that means David's mum's a good mum, and none of this ever happened. You guys sound dumb. I think he's trying to point out the defense is trying to switch blame to Celeste and her family. Some people have heard the defense and them saying her family knew, and boom, everyone took that as her mum and dad, etc. We already know her cousin knew, and some of her other family members, sister, I believe. Doesn't necessarily mean the whole family knew. We also don't know about how it got signed. Until that comes out at trial, people should hold off slagging them off and being judgy with them. Facts. This content was deemed as spreading misinformation, whether intentionally or unintentionally, or simply we have not been provided with any proof to the claims. Please try and verify before posting. I don't think it's meant to prove something about the case. It's questioning why a content creator who attended the hearings is one of the only people who can transmit that information to the public intentionally reported falsehoods. I didn't intentionally report falsehoods. I wrote as quickly as I could. I gave you the information I had and it was incomplete, unfortunately. How do you know it was intentional? Can you provide proof it was intentional? You can't. It seems to me it's an easy mistake to make when he didn't get to see the document and was trying to write his own notes in a hurry. I rate this comment. Pretty wild to me to just assume this was on purpose and not a human mistake. It really looks like you two hate him, and I don't care about your personal beefs. I don't waste my time hate watching YouTubers. He literally opened his big mouth and said he's correcting the misinformation. Only the father signed it, and perhaps under false pretenses. But we know now it was totally a lie. Okay, but why are you out here defending Asia? Why do you think he didn't see the document? He was in the courtroom. Other people in the courtroom reported accurately. The defense put the document on the projector for all to see. It was fucking tiny. Other people saw the doc just like he did. And if for some strange reason he didn't see the document, even though he was there, why confidently say numerous times in his video that the signature of only one person was present? I don't hate Trap, lol. I have no reason to. I appreciated his coverage. I'm going to keep doing it in the annoying voice. I'm just confused, and I'm starting to question the motivations of someone who repeatedly stated misinformation in a confident manner. I was disappointed to learn that what he had reported was not accurate. I was relying on his content and others who were present to give me an accurate rundown. If I were unsure about something, I certainly wouldn't report it to thousands of people. I was sure when I reported it. I was sure from my notes. I wrote as quickly as I could, but it is what it is. It said he literally said he couldn't see it multiple times. That's why he wasn't sure if it had been in English in the first video when he talked about it. I can't answer any of those questions about why he was confident because I can't read minds. You think I have a special insight into random YouTubers' thoughts? Well, it's good thing I'm here. Good thing me is making this video and making it very clear. I thought from my notes, that's what they said. And now I've seen the transcript. Is what it is. No, I obviously know mind readers aren't real. I was only responding to your comment. In the video, he's mad about David's mum, who I agree is sus as F and trash. He repeatedly said only the father had signed, and he didn't seem to say it in an unsure manner. Hence my confusion why I talked to another person in the courtroom and saw the transcripts. I mean, he literally did say he couldn't see the document. I don't know why anyone would take his word 100%, but it's a stretch to say intentional. But like, could he not hear either? It's about writing. It's about Look at my terrible handwriting. Look how shit my handwriting. Can you see that? Look how bad my handwriting is. This is the page. Look how bad my handwriting sucks. All right, I have to check that I haven't shown you something offensive that I'm gonna get in trouble about. You can pause and look at my handwritten notes there. They're on my Patreon for free as well. But like, you know what I'm saying? Like, bro, I was writing as fast as I could. These motherfuckers are talking quick time. They're lawyers, all right? Anyway, not only were the signatures clear on the exhibit, not true, but the detective quite literally said Jesus and Mercedes both signed the document. It's in the transcript. He didn't say that, did he? He just said yes to when she was asking him. But anyway. Oh, there it is again. It said a 4-page notarized travel document sworn to by Jesus Rivas and Mercedes dated that way. They said, all right. Well, I'm pretty sure he said yes to that. But anyway. It says, you've never been so focused on writing a specific part of your notes that you tune out the last bit of a sentence. Is that not a common experience? Totally a common experience. Difference is, if I was unsure about something, I wouldn't report on it confidently, knowing my subscriber base depends on me for accurate reporting. I would be like, not sure, guys, and that would be it. He wouldn't be unsure if he didn't hear the name or didn't write it in his notes. He would genuinely think that he was right because he missed out or tuned out when the mum's name was said. A lot of people are wrong about things and loud about it because they fully believe they're right. I thought I was right. And that's totally understandable and fine. I hope he issues a correction. I'm assuming he will. Like I said, a lot of people depend on the folks attending the proceedings for accurate reporting, myself included. I was going off what he said in the Colleen video, and he seemed very certain of what was accurate and what was not. Now the transcripts are out. Corrections where needed can be made for accurate reporting. Justice for Celeste is what everyone on here has in common, I would hope. Not sure about that. And I think transparency is always best, especially when one takes out on the responsibility of reporting the facts. I'm not going to waste my time on this one. They clearly don't get it. Props to you for explaining. But do you waste your time defending your favorite YouTubers on Reddit? Got it. He did say they hadn't seen the document, though. It's not like he's lying and saying stuff. I took it as maybe hold off until it comes out how it was signed, because in this case has so many twists and turns. RIP Celeste, you really didn't deserve it. The argument is that Celeste's parents don't know how to speak or read English, and that they signed the notary without knowledge of what it said, and they might have been convinced by David himself. It hasn't been confirmed or denied. Do you really think if Silverman had concerns about the veracity of the document, she would have just sat there and let the defense introduce the judge? No, but if she's not 100% sure and doesn't have full-blown proof, she can't. That's just, you know what I'm saying? Like, if she can't prove it 100%, she can't say anything to that. Of course not. In any court proceeding, both sides have an opportunity to inspect the exhibits. Had the government been confirmed about the authenticity, surely they would have objected and conducted extensive cross. It says, if this was not obtained legally, do you think the DA would sit there allowing this illegal document to be used and submitted? Well, if they don't have proof, they just have an inkling, they just suspect it, they can't bring it forward, all right? This OP's working overtime to defend. Everyone knows it's legit. And it was explosive, and there was silence because their lies were exposed right there and then. To tell me that this person who made this post doesn't have an agenda against the family is absurd. I'm going to read this comment to you again. Just understand the agenda. Look at what's being said here. If this wasn't obtained legally, don't you think the DA wouldn't sit there and allow this illegal document to be used and submitted into evidence? Everyone knows it's legit. Who's everyone? How? And it was explosive. There was silence because their lies were exposed right then and there. What do you mean? It's a silent courtroom. There was no silence. The only people allowed to talk were the lawyer and the person on the witness stand. What do you mean there was silence? What, everybody was chit-chatting, having private conversations while this was going on until this happened? You're a joker. You weren't there. All right, and you don't have a fucking clue what you're talking about, and you're running defense for David. Everyone knows who's talking about spreading misinformation with no facts. I've just showed you my notes. I've literally just showed you my notes and explained to you why I missed out this key detail, and I apologize for it. But it's, everyone knows. Okay, citation needed. B Laundry BFF, and I've seen your name in a lot of sus comments before. Everyone knows it's legit, and it was explosive. There was silence. What the fuck are you talking about? You don't have a clue what you're talking about. If I sign a legally binding document in Chinese, even though I can't write or read, it is still legally binding. Just because they signed it doesn't mean they knew what it was for. A lot of people whose parents don't speak the local language just sign stuff if their kids tell them to. And they just didn't question where the F their daughter was when she went off to London for a week. Nothing but excuses to defend their incredibly poor parenting. They need jail time. Can you imagine, like, okay, so look, we're over here talking about facts, all right? We're over here talking about facts, and you're saying they need jail time. You haven't even established the facts of where they thought their daughter was. They didn't question where their daughter was. Well, they might have thought she was in London under a different reason. They might have thought she was on a field trip with her school to London. They need jail time. This is disgusting. This guy should be ashamed of himself. Honestly, you should actually be ashamed of yourself. It's a disgrace. No, I certainly do blame the parents. I certainly do. I certainly do blame the parents. If you had your way, you guys would just let David go and her parents would be in jail, right? And he could just move on to the next minor, right? That's what you guys want. I certainly do blame the parents. I'm just presenting other people's arguments, which isn't a good excuse. They should have questioned Celeste's relationship with David. Well, they didn't know about the relationship with David. They said David was known to the family. They didn't say the relationship was known to the parents. I would maybe. Oh no, I've lost the comment. Where did it go? I mean, it was kind of dumb, so let's just move on. I actually have lost that comment. You guys can pause and read it yourselves. It was triggering. Oh, here it is. I would maybe understand if this was someone the parents never interacted with, but it's proven they've seen a grown-ass man hanging out with a little girl as he was at the birthday parties, and even with Celeste's family, if I'm not mistaken. You, sir, are mistaken. You're spreading misinformation. This is misinformation. This was not proved. This would have been brought up in court. For everybody that said, oh, well, don't you think that the lawyers would have... If the DA had proof that it wasn't a real document, surely... Yeah, if the defense had proof that a grown-ass man was hanging out with a little girl and the parents interacted with him and he was at birthday parties and other events with Celeste. That's not true. This is a lie. So look, people want to say misinformation because I got a note wrong. This is packed chock full of misinformation. They're using me as like a tent pole to hang all this other information off of, and it's disgusting. These guys should really just burn for this. Metaphorically, they should burn, like their souls and, their conscience should burn for blaming a bunch of people who are victims of a disgusting alleged murderer. The story might be different if Celeste managed to keep David hidden from the family. I think she might have, buddy. But that again would excuse her parents for letting a little girl travel across the world without their presence. The whole story's fucked up, and nobody who knew Celeste cared about her properly. But they're not on trial for murder, so what does this actually mean for the case? For real, it's not like they were fighting subpoena from the grand jury like David, aka David Anthony Burke's parents were. Document was probably translated and explained to the parents. Oh, probably. Oh, what are you basing that on? No facts. Trust me, bro. Probably translated and explained to the parents. A translator was likely present. Oh, sorry. I thought this was saying that it was like translated to them when they signed it. That's not true. Didn't happen. Translator didn't present the document. The physical document was never presented. It was on a tiny little screen way at the back of the courtroom. Imagine, like, when you get a full... Okay. When you get a full screen video, like imagine a TV that's probably like 42 inches, way at the back of the courtroom, and then they show a full A4 document, portrait on a landscape. So this is the TV, and the document is an A4 piece of paper going down the middle with like black lines on the side. You could not fucking read any of it at all. It was cap, okay? So it's a document that's probably translated and explained to the parents. No, it wasn't. I'll be honest with you. I don't think the parents had a clue what was going on through the majority of the trial because the translator only spoke to them when they were spoken to. The translator wasn't there translating all the way through all the testimony. They were just looking at look, no offense to them. They didn't understand what was going on. They were just looking at pictures. They were just looking at pictures and crying when pictures of Celeste things were shown. They were only getting... when Beth Silverman turned around and said something to them, then their translator would be like, oh, blah, blah. It said, if the person signing it didn't speak English, I'd expect some form of translation or interpretation before it was notarized. Otherwise, I doubt it would be notarized. In my country, documents like this are prepared in both languages for all parties. I'd be surprised if the US didn't have a similar process, although a Spanish language version of the document may have been required. Also, the notary could have been a Spanish speaker. After all, this is California, where many people speak Spanish and English. Who was the notary? I'd love to know who the notary was. See, this is the thing. Can we echo this across all boards? So you're mad at me because I got a small detail wrong that changes nothing, but you guys are willing to just tell these tall tales of, oh, the document was translated, the document was, the notary could have been a Spanish speaker. So you've got no proof of any of this, but I'm wrong because I missed something out in my notes that changes nothing. Okay. I believe Trapp has a blind spot when it comes to Celeste parents' negligence. While there is a possibility of forgery, surely the defense isn't stupid enough to use a forged document as evidence. Well, they're clutching at every straw. And this blind spot isn't... I think you guys have a blind spot when it comes to David being responsible for this, allegedly. I think you guys have a blind spot when it comes to, placing blame where it actually deserves to be placed on the shoulders of a groomer, murderer, just despicable human being, allegedly. You guys all have a giant blind spot. This dude is a weirdo. I still can't understand why are the people still watching him. He only care for doing this for content. You need to have some grammar lessons, sir. Money over justice. Money over justice. All right, tell that to TMZ. It's what was it? KTLA5, Fox, NBC, the BBC, all of the big documentary companies who turned up at the trial, you know what I'm saying, asking for interviews with all kinds of different people. The hearing, sorry, not the trial. Tell that to all the other people that were there. Oh, it's all money over justice. What do you mean money over justice? I can do quality reporting and spend my time getting up at 5 a.m., getting down to the courthouse, making sure that I'm on the standby list so that every time I lost the lottery, I stood by and waited for there to be an open slot and got in the room so that I could report on this. Yes, I do get paid for my job. I'm sure everybody else out there who does a job, who turns up to their job at 5, 6, 7 a.m., puts in a full day shift and works. I was working all into the night, getting up at 5, going to the courthouse, getting my reporting, writing, breaking my wrist every day, writing and unfortunately missing out on a few words, going home, making videos, putting those up for you guys, giving you the information as soon as I possibly could, doing videos about other stuff because I do have other things going on outside of this case, as much as people say, oh, you're just David Reddit comments all day. I've made a whole documentary about the Jacksonville gang wars that was 4 hours long in the midst of this going on. I absolutely worked myself to death. Yes, I do get paid for my job. I'm sure all of you, whether you're working at the Amazon warehouse, or whether you're working at a law firm, or whether you're working at making TikToks, I'm sure you all get paid for the hard work that you do. This just happens to... Beth Silverman's getting paid, right? David's lawyers are getting paid, right? Money over justice. Tell that to Blair Burke. I only watched him because he was defending the parents from the beginning. I wanted to see how he'd spin it after the shocking revelation came out in court, so there we go. You guys are just love the false information, all right? You live for that. All I know is someone who can't argue a point and is set in his ways with preconceived notions will always shut you down. David's team seems to be his quote of the day. It's funny, right? Because it's like, I would just throw that back at you guys. Is that like, just you guys basically just have this whole thing of just like, fuck the family, hate the family. It's the fact the family should be in jail. You guys can't argue a point. You're so set in your ways with a preconceived notion that the family is responsible, all right? David's team is his quote of the day. All right. Slop bore dross living down to his values. I find it really funny when people do this because it's like you guys are really sat around trying to make like puns and rhyming words to like mock my name as if this is some kind of own, but it's like you're really sat there formulating a way to like reformulate my name to like make fun of me. Like you guys are really like obsessed with me at this point, all right? Living to my values, mocks my values. My value is the truth, quality journalism, doing a good job of getting information out there, correcting the record if it's wrong, fighting for the truth, not spreading misinformation and lies and telling a grieving family they should be in jail. Disgusting. I think he has the best overall coverage of the case, but yes, it's very clear that the parents were aware of the situation. Not true. Please show me, like Dave Idiot's, the guy that made this BFF laundry or whatever his stupid name is. Please show me the transcript where it says that the parents knew about the relationship. The parents knew about the relationship. Please show me that. Do another post. You won't. You can't. And it's weird he keeps trying to cover it I think he has good intentions and he doesn't want the parents to get harassed even more than they are, but still weird. We all just want to harass the parents. We all just want to keep harassing the grieving parents of this murdered child. That's what you want to do. It says he's covered in his own video the story of Celeste's mother making her sleep in the same room as her and locking the door so she couldn't go out to see him. Then one video later, she'll say the parents had no idea anything was happening. So not wanting your daughter to keep running away, that's the same as knowing exactly what she was up to. So they just telepathically knew. When she disappeared and ran away and they couldn't find her, they telepathically knew. Why didn't Celeste's parents turn up to that property that David was staying in when the police turned up? Because they probably didn't fucking have a clue where or what was going on. All right? It's just ridiculous. I bet Trapp will not correct himself as he's dedicated so much time to saying it was just the father. He can't admit when he was wrong. Shows what you fucking know. Ownery awareness. Ownery awareness. Will you admit, all right? Will you admit and correct the record when you were completely wrong? This comment was completely wrong. I bet. All right? I bet. Should I reply? I'm going to reply. Will you correct yourself when I put out the video correcting the record? Doubt it. All right. I'm just getting petty now. I was already skeptical, but once he started defending the parents and treating them as if they were oblivious to everything, that was it for me. Unsubscribed, lol. That's cool. You go. Peace. Fuck off. Like, I'm good. Like, thank God. I don't believe it's that they were unaware, but they were failed by the translator in a massive way. I hope they can redeem that in the trial. What translator? The document wasn't translated, right? What do you mean they were there was no proof. They said David was known to Celeste's family. Yes. After the missing persons report, Celeste's parents allowed her to live away with an aunt in the same city David lived in. Sneaky language, right? Celeste's aunt and cousins knew about the relationship. But I don't see anywhere where it says that the parents knew. The sister was aware of the relationship. That's it. All right? The parents were not aware of the relationship. They knew who he was. We need to be wary of the transcribed text that he wrote too, or any other information he put out. I'm just going to base everything off the court transcripts now that they're out. To be fair, the other reporters were tweeting misinformation too, so it's just not just him. But the fact that they can say for certain that the parents had no knowledge is so bizarre. It's not bizarre because it was never said that the parents had knowledge of the relationship. So they were aware of David was known to Celeste's family. Right. And they might have known, yeah, she had a boy. I believe that what was spread around was they knew she had a boyfriend called David. But the extent of the relationship, the age of David and what was going on between them, I don't think they were aware. He was literally kidnapping her. What is and I've seen this a lot. It says, oh, well, the parents knew everything. Well, why do you need Operation Awesome then? Why do you need to have like a military style operation where you're getting your security to kidnap her in the night? Why would you need that? Just for a bit of fun, a bit of role play, like, oh, let's just do a fun little kidnapping for a bit of a laugh, even though your parents are totally cool with it. I don't know if it's me, but he gets oddly defensive whenever people criticize their parents because I think it's disgusting. They're grieving the loss of their child that was murdered in a horrific way. They don't deserve this. It almost feels like he's personally invested in defending them, which is strange. I'm invested in what's right. It's disgusting. It's wrong. I think it's because he sees the parents face to face in court grieving for Celeste. Regardless of whatever mistakes they did or didn't make, it must be horrifying to see something that you wouldn't wish on your worst enemy to happen to your daughter. That's a fair point. I guess I hadn't thought about how emotionally difficult it must be to watch parents grieving court day after day. Well, as far as you morons on this subreddit think, they just didn't care. They're just whatever, right? If you guys were right, they wouldn't even turn up to court. They were there every day, grieving, crying, literally breaking down. I completely understand how that could shape someone's perspective. Well, I thought this before I ever saw the parents, so that's cap. I also think empathy for their loss doesn't prevent us from asking difficult questions about what happened beforehand or accepting, without scrutiny, the idea that they were unaware of everything. I'm not saying they were unaware of everything. I'm just going to read it again. Blair said, David was known to Celeste's family. Yes. That's it. If they said the parents knew about, I'm not going to say it over again, but the aunts and the cousin and the sister knew about the relationship. They never said the parents. If the reported details are accurate, David allegedly had significant access to the family. To me, that's something that deserves to be examined too. 100 feel the same way, but I guess because since the beginning he's posted many videos supporting the parents without even questioning their lack of parenting or actions after she never returned home and now it's too late. I would never say they were amazing parents. I don't know. It sounds like the whole family was dealing with a lot of issues. But at the same time, the idea that just look, I see what you guys are all doing, trying to put the blame on the family to absolve David. It's disgusting. Either way, he's the one earning the most money in this, so he should at least be responsible in reporting factual information. I would wager Blair Burke is earning more money than me. I would wager that David's earning more money than me. Colleen Burke is earning more money than me. Blair Burke is earning more money than me. Beth Silverman is probably earning more money than me, and rightly so, because she's actually she's actually working to put this clown away. I would wager that probably like a few of the reporters that are in that courtroom that are working for big established mainstream media organizations. There's a woman from the BBC. They look that, hey, BBC gets millions and millions of dollars from the government, all right? From the government. I would wager that all the women from the BBC are earning more than me. Probably there are a few women from like big film documentary companies there trying to get people to be in their documentary. I would probably wager that they're making more money than me. Like I say, the reporters from NBC, I think it's NBC or maybe it's CBS, a bunch of news organizations. The girl from TMZ, I don't know, maybe, you know what I'm saying? Maybe I'm getting more money than, but it doesn't matter. It's not about the money. We're not all there for, I'm sure Blair Burke is there for the money, but like Beth Silverman's not there for the check, but she's the Deputy District Attorney of Los Angeles. She's probably making bank. That's a very serious high level job. Okay. It doesn't matter. All right, it doesn't matter at all. It almost feels as if he's picked an underdog to root for early on and stuck with that narrative. You guys are talking about this like this is sports, right? The Super Bowl, like, oh, you picking the Eagles because they're the underdog this year. What the fuck are you talking about? The underdog? Oh, because what? Because David's so cooked. Like, I'm going to pick an underdog. I'm going to pick an underdog to root for. I'm just doing what's right. He'll spend ages criticizing David's mum, but barely question Celeste's parents. Because their daughter was murdered. And David's mother seemingly met up with... See, this is the funny thing, right? I've not seen anyone mention once in this thread that David's mother was aware of the relationship. And that was presented in court with facts. David may have been the one who killed her, but anytime that David might have been the one who killed her, but do you know how much heavy lifting this but is doing? David may have been the one who killed her, but this is disgusting. This is like these three letters in this context is actually evil. Evil. Every adult in her life failed her. They don't all share the same level of responsibility, but I'd expect every decision that contributed to what happened to be examined and not just the ones made by David's family. It's crazy. I'm gonna keep watching him. He's reporting on crime, which means he deserves that bag. So I'll keep supporting him. I like to watch this channel for reporting on the David case. I recommend checking them out. I see who that is. Was he in court though? Yeah, shout out to him. He doesn't happen to have a teenage daughter, does he? How old do you think I am? Don't answer that. So you literally crucify a person for one minor thing. Okay, seems petty to me. To be fair, our entire mod team was accused of working for David based on absolutely zero evidence. How much do you charge per hour again? I doubt he can afford it. I don't even know what that means. This is a criminal law expert. See, this is the thing. It's like me saying that you guys are Team David. That doesn't mean you're on David's payroll. It just means that you're taking up for David. You're rooting for David. You guys are making this a team sport, and the team that you seem to be choosing over and over again is David and David's family. I've noticed on these subs there are a whole bunch of shooters for these parents lately. Way more than the usual. Suspicious, right? Team David. And no, you're not being paid by David. You're all just going to bat for David for whatever twisted reasons you guys have decided that you want to support an alleged child murderer. I don't understand. So I look at it this way. These greedy fuckers need their money. Their lawyer needs to get paid, so it's in their best interest to try and manipulate the idiots before they go to trial for that civil suit. They're going to lose everything. They're going to delete everything. You know Celeste's family lawyer, he's going to delete everything from Colleen's bank account. He's going to delete everything from David's bank account. He's going to delete everything from Mogul Vision's bank account. It's going to be glorious. Facts are they were complicit, negligent, and their laziness put their child in the position to be with these predators. They need to be in jail already. I mean, I feel like I would argue that like some of you guys that are defending David need to be in jail. I think there needs to be room for both empathy and accountability. They still lost their daughter, and I can't imagine that kind of grief. But if the reported details are accurate, David had an extraordinary amount of access to the family over a long period of time. That's a misrepresentation of the facts. It's reasonable to ask how that happened and whether opportunities to protect Celeste were missed. I don't get why people still support him. Who, David? Oh no, me. In one of the videos, he made a sexual joke. Misinformation, not true. Never, ever happened. All right? Never happened. No one can find the joke. People keep saying he made a sexual joke or talked about making one about Celeste after she was already deceased. And I completely stopped watching him. Doesn't deserve any type of attention. That never happened. Please, somebody make a post with the joke. Show me the joke. All right. All I said was that the certain word kept coming up, and I said, oh, I'm not even gonna make the joke about that situation. But like, that's making me think of something. That pattern recognition is making me think of a play on words. All right. That's all I said. There was no joke. All right. And you guys are so desperate to latch onto anything to take me down. I mean, look, I'm going to do a separate video talking about that guy H3H3, who I used to be a big fan of. He made some pretty despicable jokes about Celeste. I've not really seen that talked about on here. But everyone just loves to pick on me and slander me. You can't say, because this never happened. This did not happen. Please post it. Please post when this happened. Post exactly what was said. Damn, how long is he going to keep milking this case? We're going to not milking this case. We're going to report on this case as well as I possibly can, all the way up until there has been justice for Celeste. And that's it. All right. That's it. And how long are you guys going to keep making comments about this case? Lay off Ross. He's working his ass off for the case. I, for one, appreciate it. Nobody is perfect. Okay. Well, there you go. I feel like, I haven't really got to say anything else, have I? I've set the record straight. I tried my best with my notes. All right. It was tough. It was tough. And I'm going to keep trying my best. I'm going to keep improving. I'm going to do everything that I possibly can to be the best reporter that I can be. This isn't some psyop where I'm trying to spread misinformation. It was a mistake. Like, I missed a word, and it changes zero. Nothing changes. Tell me what's changed. Tell me what factual information has changed. All this is an opportunity to try and drag me because I'm exposing everybody. All right. Oh, just so happens that on the last day they drag the family with a bunch of really cleverly worded questions to make it sound worse than it is. Okay. Anyway, I hope you guys found that interesting and useful. Part of me just feels like, who even cares about me having an argument with people on Reddit? This is so, like, insignificant in the grand scheme of things. We're all just waiting for justice for Celeste. Rest in peace to her. I really hope that it comes sooner rather than later. I hope it doesn't delay this trial for years, and we eventually do just get to the bottom of this situation. I'll keep you guys posted on any updates, but that's me for now. Thank you for watching, and I'm out. Peace.